Hello and welcome to episode 358 of Sutton and Back Family Style. I'm Jason.
I'm Bill. We're going to start a little NBA today. Shout out to LeBron for hitting 40,000.
It's a lot of
And
points.
Jason and I were debating off screen, off phone, off air, whatever you want to call it. And, I said I'd have to give LeBron some consideration for MVP just because he's 40 years old. But if you think about it, and Jason brought me around for thinking about it, that's not why he should be MVP because he's 40. He should be MVP because he's helping his team. I mean, he's not the player Jokic is.
No, or Giannis or Embiid, the season Embiid was having.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if it's Tatum, but somebody on that Boston roster's got to get some love, right?
That was incredible the way they whooped up on the Warriors this weekend. God.
Yeah. But before we move on to individual games, do you think anyone will get? I mean, we talk about unbroken records, and we have like DiMaggio's streak. I guess Cal Ripken's streak.
DiMaggio's 56 games.
Yeah. Cal Ripken's Iron Man, whatever, played a lot of baseball games in a row.
Yeah.
But 40,000 points. To be that
No,
good.
I think that's an unbreakable record.
Right? To be
Yeah,
that
I think
good
that's an unbreakable record.
at that young. To be that
It's
good,
hard.
that
That's
old.
20 years in the NBA at, close to 20 points a game, right?
Yeah. I mean, LeBron's been over 20, I think, his entire career. I'm not sure about his rookie
Yeah.
season.
And, I mean,
No
he
major
hasn't had any
injuries.
major injuries.
Right.
But, I mean, the odds are, the travel and the injuries and everything else, I just don't see it. Yeah, I think that's an unbreakable record.
Because he came in at 18 and was great from day one, right?
Mm-hmm.
He lived up to the hype. He's still averaging, like you said, 26 points a game at age 40. So that's a 22-year career with no major injuries, in the playoffs every year. And you look at a guy like Luka that puts up a lot of points, but Luka was like 20 when he came in the league, so he's already 2 years behind LeBron.
Yeah, and there's no way Luka's body's going to hold up like LeBron's. He doesn't take care of his body.
No.
I mean, that's the LeBron is cut and he's physical, and there's no way. I mean, you have to invest in your body in a certain way to probably even play for 15 years, let alone 20 years.
Right. And, then you look at guys that are prolific scorers. Joel Embiid can't stay on the floor. Harden, I think, is a pretty incredible scorer, but he can't stay on the floor. Kyrie has missed a lot of time. I mean, you look at just the great, people that could put up 25, 30 points a night easy. And I think when they talked about it, I was like, it almost seemed impossible the record Kareem had for however many years he owned that record.
Mm-hmm.
And when LeBron passed him, and now he's at 40, and he'll probably be at, I don't know what it'll be by the end of the season, but yeah, that just feels like such an unbreakable record.
I agree. I just don't see anybody touching it because I just don't see anybody being able to play that long and at that level.
No, and again,
It's complicated. I mean, there's two. One is just playing for 20 years.
Yeah,
I mean, Vince Carter played a long time, but he's nowhere near 40,000 points.
no,
And I can't see, it's 20 years is impossible. And then 40,000. I mean, if you played 20 years and you did 25,000 points, that's pretty incredible. That's a great career.
it's a great career.
But 40's unbelievable.
Yeah, because like I said, he was scoring 20 points a game from the time he was 18 to the time that he's 40 with no major injuries. And it's just, it's just not going to happen.
I just don't see it.
Yeah. And like you said, I mean, it's hard to, we have the MVP thing, but like as far as like athletes over the age of 40, and I don't mean to dismiss golfers, it's just, it's a different
game.
It's a different game. And hockey players, like, I know Gordie Howe and Gretzky played pretty late and they were pretty great when they were old. Lemieux was good when he was old. I mean, you got, but LeBron might be as good of a 40-year-old as we ever, and then Brady, obviously.
Yeah, and with the hockey thing, we have to understand, I mean, so a hockey match is 60 minutes, right?
Right.
20, 20, 20. You're playing maybe 20, 25 minutes.
Yeah. I
You're
mean,
not
it's
playing
yeah. It's also
40 plus minutes of LeBron's playing.
No, but especially when those guys were playing, it's a much more physical game than LeBron's ever played in his entire life.
Right.
A season of hockey would put more physical strain on your punishment taking than a season of the NBA, for sure.
Yeah.
Especially, if we're talking the Gordie Howe, Gretzky 80s era where you could like really lay people out.
Yeah.
But
No,
yeah,
it's
so
tough.
congrats to him. Um,
Yeah.
I
Congrats to him.
and I think the next big NBA thing we have to talk about before we get to the Warriors getting destroyed by the Celtics is Wemby, who's been on a tear for 2 months now.
Yeah, they did a nice job with him. They brought him along slow, let him get acclimated to it. Now he's playing more and more minutes every game.
He's shooting 40% from three. He had the most blocks in the NBA last month, not per person, but per team. He had more blocks than a lot of teams in the NBA had. He put up 31, 12, 6, and 6 against the Pacers the other night. And he's hitting coming down, pull up threes. He's blocking all sorts of crazy shots. He might be Defensive Player of the Year this year as a rookie.
He could be. And I'm telling you, when I saw him in person, if he was playing with better talent, he'd probably average 10 assists a game.
Yeah. And
he's a great passer.
Yeah, he's not LeBron or Jokic, but he's a really good passer. He's a solid ball. I mean, for a guy that's 7'4", like his ball handling is incredible. He's got great touch, and he's feisty, right?
He needs a running mate, though.
He does.
He really needs a running mate.
Do you like?
And I don't know if they'll get somebody in free agency or get somebody coming out of college and groom him. I think pretty much because he's so young, I would try and get the right player out of free agency.
Would you trade for a Trae Young?
No.
No? Okay.
I don't think it's the guy.
Because that's the rumor, is that, you put a Trae Young who can hit all these threes and is a good passer. You put him in pick and rolls with Wemby, and then you make the rest of your team basically, stretch threes that can play defense. I didn't love it either. It's kind of tough because you get scared when you remember, back to the 40,000 point LeBron James. The reason he ended up leaving Cleveland is Cleveland rushed to put a team around him because he was so good, right?
Right.
And in the process gave up every asset they had and ended up taking on a lot of bloated contracts of role players and, big men and Ilgauskises and people of the world. Not that they're bad players, but then you had a team that just couldn't compete. And he had to leave, right?
He had to leave, and he had a chance to go play. He wanted to play with better players.
Right.
And that's where you're going to go,
And if you're Wemby, you don't want to see, I don't know who's a free agent this year, but I know it's I think there's some Malcolm Brogdon. You don't want to overpay for a Malcolm Brogdon and some other, pieces to be better, but not to be competitive. Because then all of a sudden, you don't want to be the Spurs 3 years down the road. Or the Mavericks are almost in that place, and while they're definitely playing better, the Bucks with Giannis are almost in that place where it's you want to be in the Jokic situation where you built this incredible team around him, and you got Christian Browns, and you still have draft picks, and yeah.
I think the most fun game I've seen all year was Oklahoma City, San Antonio.
Yeah.
Yep. It was fun watching Big Chet play, and Wemby play, and SGA play. It was a fun game to watch.
And that Wemby block.
Those are going to be two teams that battle for the next 5 years.
And that Wemby block on Chet down the stretch from 15 feet was huge. And again, I'm sure part of it is if you're Chet Holmgren, you're 7 feet tall. You probably rarely face somebody that can, all of a sudden
can block your shot.
That can block your shot from the out, just standing in front of you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And 8-foot wingspan, and again, especially people my age and younger, if you've grown up with 2K and you've grown up creating basketball players, Wemby is a creative player that should not exist.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be that big and that long and that athletic and that coordinated. That's just such a rare combination.
No, he is so agile. That's the first. If you see him in person, that's the first thing you're going to see is how agile he is.
Yeah.
Chet is agile.
Yeah.
But not Wemby agile. Close.
I know. I thought about one of my heroes, Dominique Wilkins, when I saw poor Chet.
Yeah.
You're competing now with Jokic, Embiid, Giannis as these other bigs that are already established and are still in their prime, and Anthony Davis, we can throw him in there, right?
Right.
And then behind you, a year younger, is a guy like Wemby. And it's hard to imagine
it's unreal.
And then that doesn't even include the Sabonis's and the Librarian. You know, that's a lot of big dudes. And you might see as great as he is. But let's talk about that Celtics Warriors game, which was not a good game to watch unless you're a Celtics fan.
No, it was like 48-18 at one time.
Yeah. They blew out the Warriors by 52 points. They have a league best 48-12 record. I think they might have the highest. Yeah, they have the highest plus win differential in terms of points. They've won 11 straight.
Blowouts.
Yeah. They're 29-3 at home.
Yeah, I mean they're unreal.
And with Porzingis in there, who seems like the absolute perfect fit for those guys, they are just nearly unstoppable, right?
As long as he stays healthy, they're a force.
Yeah. And then the only thing that scares you with them, and I noticed they did it a little less against the Warriors, is they obviously are a big analytics team. And, they'll take 45, 53s a game. And sometimes when you have a Jaylen Brown and a Jason Tatum, there are some times where you like to see him just put it on the floor and just take it to the hole. A little bit more than they do. But they look really good. The Milwaukee Bucks have won 5 in a row. Some of the Doc Rivers, anti-Doc Rivers stuff has quieted down a little bit. And the Bucks
there's always an adjustment. Yeah, there's always an adjustment period.
Yeah.
He's got to come in and assess what he has. They've got to assess what he wants to do, and he's got to work its way out.
But, I mean...
Not easy.
Yeah. They're in the 2 seed again. And Boston's having such a phenomenal year. Like, the 2 seed is probably as good as you're going to get, right?
Mm-hmm.
And especially if you're in the 2 seed, like, the only team out of the... I guess you wouldn't want to see the Heat or the Pacers, but you would love to see the Bulls, the Hawks, the Nets, the Raptors coming out of the play-in, right?
Yeah, I mean... Yeah, I'm not sold on the Heat this year either. They don't have enough.
No, and when you look at the East, right? We have the Celtics, we both agree are phenomenal.
We can't leave out the reborn Al Horford either.
No. The Bucks have, Giannis, one of the greatest players in the world. In the 3 seed, you got the Cavs, who, they've got 39 wins, they look good, but I'm not sure I trust them in a series.
No, and they got injuries now.
Followed by the Knicks, who, again, much like the Cavs, are very injured. In the 5th seed, you have the Sixers, who we have no idea if we're going to see Joel Embiid again, and that's pretty much their fate, right?
Right.
Then you have the Magic, surprising 6th seed.
Yeah.
Heat, Pacers, Bulls, and Hawks. And then you have Nets, and I guess the Raptors are still technically in contention for a play-in. But that's a pretty weak East, right?
That is a pretty weak East.
Like, the Celtics are the only team I have a lot of confidence in. Like I said, I know the Bucks have won 40 games and they have Giannis and Dame, so that should be enough. But
I like the Celtics and the Bucks, and everybody else is kind of, an afterthought at this point. Those are 2 teams that I think could face in Eastern Finals. And I wouldn't be surprised if that was what it came down to. Anything else would be an upset.
Right, and then we get to the West. Oklahoma City, they're in first place still. The T-Wolves are half a game back. The Nuggets are half a game back. Then you got the Clippers, the Pelicans, the Kings, the Suns, the Mavericks, the Warriors, and the Lakers. So in the play-in tournament, you're going to have the Suns, the Mavericks, the Warriors, and the Lakers as of right now. And
it's pretty incredible.
It's pretty incredible, right?
That's must-watch basketball.
It's must-watch basketball. And again, if you're Oklahoma City or the Timberwolves or even, Denver, I wouldn't want to see Phoenix, Dallas, Golden State, or Los Angeles, even though I don't have a lot of faith in the Lakers or the Warriors at this point. But it's not somebody you want to see in round 1.
No, for some reason I'm thinking Denver Clippers. That's what I think it's going to come down to in my Western Finals.
Yeah,
I like Oklahoma City a lot. I like Minnesota. They just haven't been to this level for so long. I think they win their first series.
Yeah.
But I don't think they get – I think it comes to – the Clippers are playing, with all they've got, because who knows if they ever get back.
Exactly. And they're really deep.
They're really deep, and Denver just is Denver.
Yeah. And again, Oklahoma City, we're not in the GM position. I know they have a gazillion picks, and there were a couple of big men that were around, and I know Oklahoma City's got a real nice thing happening. But if you're going to go through the Timberwolves, the Nuggets, probably the Lakers, you're going to need some actual size, especially the Nuggets, and it's not Chet.
You need some bulk.
You need some bulk, and
some attitude.
And they had so many. I mean, they have so many picks, and there was a couple of guys that went at the trade deadline. I was surprised they didn't, just go grab one of those to just throw into the mix. But they're in first place in the West, so
yep.
I can understand them also not wanting to, but you can't make 16 first-round picks in the next 5 seasons.
No.
I mean, you can make them, but you can't keep them on a team.
No, and if you're picking after 15, it's a crapshoot.
Exactly. I guess let's transition to the other big basketball story, right?
Well, before we do that, I want to give a shout-out to the Magic. SBJ named the Magic as one of the 75 best places to work in sports.
Oh, nice.
And the Magic was the only pro team in all 4 leagues to be named.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's pretty impressive.
Yeah. That is very impressive. And no state taxes for the employees either.
No. So let's go Caitlin Clark.
Let's go Caitlin Clark.
I want to point out, great shooter, great player. I don't know how far that team's going to go because they seem overly reliant on her.
Yeah.
And we've seen teams be able to shut her down at crunch time. So, I like her. I think she's a great player. I admire the record, but, I got to be like everybody else. Social media was good today in that Pete Maravich only played three seasons because he couldn't play as a freshman.
Right.
They didn't have a 3-point shot. And those are 2 big considerations.
Those are big considerations.
Now, the one thing I'll say, though, the other stat in Caitlin Clark's favor, she averages 19 shots a game. Pete averaged 30.
Okay, there you go. That probably evens it out.
It probably evens it out. But there's no question in my mind, if they'd had a 3-point shot when Pete Maravich played,
yeah,
he would be about, 3, 6, 6, 7. He'd have been probably about 51 or 5,200.
Yeah.
Even in 3 years. And if he played 4 years, he'd probably been 7,000 points. And we wouldn't be talking about the record.
No.
But she's done good. There's a big story out today called Clarkonomics, talking about how people drive from wherever to go watch her play. And it's not just little girls. It's adults that like basketball and they like her game.
Yeah.
She sells a lot of merch. She said she's going to play in the WNBA and the Pacers are going to make her the first pick. Probably playing in Indiana couldn't even be, that's going to be great for her. If you can be in the Midwest, that'd be 2 number 1 picks in a row for that team. They'll be an instant success. And it'll be a story. There'll be a story. I don't know how good they'll be, but, they got a long way to go to beat the Knicks and some of the other super teams, but we'll see.
Yeah. Well, I haven't been paying a lot of attention. The 2 girls from LSU that are really good.
Angel Reese, and I forget who the other girl is. Yeah.
Are they still good this year? Or are they kind of?
Yeah, they're still good.
Okay.
But they're not. They're not getting the attention that this is. And you can also pick up now that whenever somebody's playing Iowa, you can tell they don't like her, and there's a little chippiness going on, banging into her and hitting her with an elbow when they're walking back from the free throw line, different things like that.
Yeah.
So she's taking a lot of shots.
She is.
But that's just maybe she's not likable. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe other players would be jealous that she gets so much attention. It probably takes away from the game because it's all focused on her. And I could see players get a little bit bent out of shape about that. So,
well, we saw a little bit of it in the tournament when it was her and Angel Reese, and they got in a little thing last year. Was he last year?
Yep.
And if Angel Reese was really good, and she could be, they could be the Bird and Magic of a WNBA, where one could sort of be the inner city, much more attitude player, and the other could be the corn-fed white boy person.
Well, I can't see either of those teams beating South Carolina.
No.
South Carolina in 2024 is like UConn 10 years ago. They just have one All-American after another just coming in the game.
Exactly.
And they have so much depth. It's just hard to imagine anybody beating them. They went undefeated in the SEC. They went undefeated for the season. So, we'll see.
Now, maybe.
But speaking of streaks, now let me talk about another streak.
Okay.
The University of Oklahoma softball lost yesterday. and they had a 71-game winning streak.
Wow.
And they lost to a team with a less than 500 record, Louisiana.
Okay. If
So
Caitlin,
shout out to Louisiana and shout out to Oklahoma women's softball for being so dominant.
Now, I'm sure you can just throw Caitlin Clark into Subway commercials with Steph and some other things along those lines. But if she is a Mike Trout, Tim Duncan level personality, which she seems closer to than somebody else, how would you attempt to market somebody like that to make them,
I think she's more outgoing than Mike Trout. Mike Trout doesn't want to do it, so he doesn't do it.
Yeah.
She does it. She's just not that good at it. So I would get her a media coach, and I would get a PR firm working with her and making her, giving her a little bit more presence. But, again, she's got to want to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, Mike Trout could care less. He wants to play baseball and win games.
Well, that's really...
So, I mean, that's what he wants to do. So he doesn't care about marketing the game. He's done a few commercials. They're nice commercials, but they're nothing,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but she has a following, and the following's going to continue in the WNBA. Wherever she plays, the TV ratings are up. All three networks love her. Fanatics loves her. I mean, she's probably the biggest female athlete story in quite a while that's had this much penetration.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I guess we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah. I've been watching a little bit of spring training. Not really much to report on yet. It's still too early on baseball. Otani played. He played, looks okay, and he's not pitching. He's just hitting, trying to get into shape. It's going to be good, but we're still a good 2-3 weeks out from being excited about it. Like the Pirates, I think, have like 90 guys right now. I mean, they have all the uniforms, and then they still have more guys that don't have names on their uniforms that are just filling in. They fill them in at the end of the game. They throw guys in, which is nice because you get to see all your guys playing in spring training. But they get start paring it down so you see more and more people playing. I mean, see the stars playing more innings, getting ready.
Oh, some breaking news as we get to about combine news. The Broncos have officially cut Russell Wilson.
Yeah, and taking the cut so anybody can sign him for nothing.
Yeah.
Pay him the minimum.
I've disliked him his entire career, as apparently a bunch of his teammates and coaches have as well. And I am so desperate for any sort of other than Kenny Pickett quarterback in Pittsburgh, I would accept him with open arms, sadly.
Well, the great thing about Russell Wilson is you can put him on your team and then sign some free agents because you're not spending a lot of money at the quarterback position.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to make a move, they only have one quarterback under Ross, just to be our Steeler moment. And it sounds like, there was rumblings of a second-round pick in Deontay Johnson for Justin Fields. And now apparently they're out on Justin Fields. They think the price is too high. I don't think they were going to get Baker. I don't see them trading for Mac Jones or Zach Wilson.
Now that Mike Evans signed,
yeah,
he would have only signed if Baker was going to be there. So we know that's right. Imminent. That's going to happen.
And I'm not excited about a 36-year-old Kirk Cousins coming off of an ACL.
I'm not either. And I think Matt Jones is Kenny Pickett.
He's Kenny Pickett, yeah. Except apparently, whereas his teammates don't like Kenny Pickett for his play on the field, they don't like Mac Jones for his play on or off the field. He doesn't seem to have a lot of friends, so they don't need that. And Russell Wilson obviously is the, but you look at his stats from last year, they're not terrible. They're not good, but they're not terrible. And again, if you could bring in Russell Wilson for the veterans minimum.
Yeah, and that's what you're going to do.
Not the worst thing for any franchise, probably.
No, not at all. Except for Denver.
I do like all the memes of him saying he wants to win 2 Super Bowls in the next 5 years, and people keep going, oh, so you're going to go back up Mahomes.
Yeah.
Which is
I don't know.
Really funny.
You know what? If anybody, the team if I was the Vikings, I'd give them thought to signing him. Only because I'm going to get him for a couple $100,000. And then I could take all that money that I'm not paying Cousins and really improve that team.
And re-sign Justin Jefferson, so you have Jefferson and Adams.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
That to me that's something. That's kind of the one I would see.
And my big combine story for you, Dad, is the combine dying? None of the top 3 quarterbacks participated in any of the drills, not even weighing in. Marvin Harrison didn't even do any interviews. Malik Neighbors isn't doing any drills. You know,
They're all waiting for their pro day, right?
well, Marvin Harrison said he might not do anything. He said he's getting ready for the season. He's like, you've seen what I've done on tape. He's like, I shouldn't have to run around in circles for you. Which could open the door
So
for...
did the quarterbacks even throw?
No.
What were they there for then?
They did a couple of interviews and some money spots where, I'm here for EA Sports or I'm here for Subway sandwiches or whatever. Those sort of interviews. The quarterbacks that did throw. Michael Penix looked good, but we all know he can throw a ball when nobody's around him, right?
Yes.
That's never been the knock on Michael Penix. He's got a cannon for an arm and he's very accurate when he's on his spot. Bo Nix was okay. Spencer Rattler was genuinely bad. He finished last in almost every QB category.
Yeah, I was not impressed with him in South Carolina.
Yeah, apparently.
Who was the guy with the big arm?
Oh, the kid from Tennessee?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's got a cannon, but, And then J.J. McCarthy looked pretty good. Apparently, he's blowing teams away on the boards.
Well, he's a winner.
You know what's weird? You said the magic, like Pee Wee Herman's, we should all jump up and down, play noise, because Kyle Brandt on NFL Network did a whole thing about winner as the first description of somebody. And he's like, A.J. McCarron was a winner. Mac Jones was a winner. He's like, I don't really know what that means.
Yeah,
he's like,
you're right.
He's like, if you're a quarterback and the first thing they say about you is you're a winner, he's like, that may not be the best thing.
No.
He's like, if we're not talking about your arm or your athleticism, your legs, your smarts, he's like, we're basically saying you were on a team that won a bunch of football games. And, he's like, The thing with J.J. McCarthy is, 31 consecutive trips without a pass attempt in some, and like 4 pass attempts in this game. And it's not that he's not capable, but yeah.
You know what? See where he goes. Oh, we need to shout out to Chris Mortensen.
Oh, yeah.
The late Chris Mortensen. It was a really nice... Adam Schefter did a really nice tribute on ESPN today. If you get a chance to watch it, you should watch it.
Yeah. And in lighter news, or not for him apparently, and I'm sure this was just a matter of the social media team not being on the same page with the organization, but the Jacksonville Jaguars gave Fatusaki, I can't pronounce his name, they were like, happy birthday to our favorite blah blah blah, and then they cut him.
Yeah.
And you would figure, so there should be some better communication. We see that oftentimes where the social media team is, they probably got
So this is franchise tag week, right?
Yeah. It is.
Okay.
Yeah, we're still months away from the draft, so it's, trying to get excited, but not too excited. And like I said, all the big dude, the wide receiver from Texas broke the 40-yard dash record.
Yeah, 4.2.
And like Ladd McConkey from Georgia ran a 4.39. It looked incredible. Thomas from LSU looked fantastic. This wide receiver class is very, very deep.
Well, hopefully we get a good win in Pittsburgh.
Yeah. And someone to throw him the football.
Well, yeah, that too. I want to go entertainment.
Okay.
Have we been other sports?
I don't think so.
I think we covered everything.
Oh, I'll give a special sports entertainment shout out. Are you familiar with the wrestler Sting, Dad?
Yeah, the wrestler.
The wrestler Sting, yes. He wrestled his last match at 64 years old.
That's incredible, 64. Even sport entertainment, doing anything at 64 is incredible. I got to give him some love for that.
And he came down, because he sort of adopted the persona of the Crow from the old movie from the 90s.
Yep.
But even at 64, they had him strapped to the ceiling, and they lowered him down with his baseball bat. He cleared out the ring. He took some bumps. And I will say, much like LeBron and Tom Brady, Sting is actually a pretty incredible athlete at 64. Having seen other 64-year-old wrestlers in the ring, like Sting actually held his own. And,
All right.
Just shout out Sting.
Shout out to Sting. And I'm going to give a shout out to Shogun for my entertainment. I watched the first 2 episodes. It's Tuesday nights on FX and then streams on Hulu. Huge investment to film this. Subtitles, but then bought it. Usually I always complain about subtitles.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. Then bought. In fact, I don't even realize they're there.
That's what you want to hear.
That's really good. The guy playing the Richard Chamberlain part from the last time they did this is really good. The Japanese actors are outstanding. The costuming is spot on, very accurate. Weaponry and everything. I mean, they spent a lot of money to get this right. So I'm pretty kicked about it. I thought it's been really, really good.
Nice. Very nice. I started the new season of Curb because I'm a Curb Your Enthusiasm fan, and it's Larry David. He's been, I know you're not a big fan, but it's. I don't know. It's quality stuff. Every time they bring it on, they have funny people on there. Like Vince Vaughn is back this season. Obviously, JB Smoove. The late, why can't I remember his name? Richard Lewis.
Oh,
yeah.
Richard Lewis, who just died.
Yeah, he has an appearance, and they basically had Larry David recreate the 5 Easy Pieces scene in one of the episodes this season. He pointed out that a Cobb salad has bacon, a Cobb salad has eggs. Why can't you make me bacon and eggs?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm just not a Larry David fan.
No, but you are a Seinfeld fan, though.
I'm a Seinfeld fan. He's a writer. He's great. I don't need him on camera.
Okay.
If he'd have played George Costanza, I would not have watched the show.
Wow, that's pretty harsh. Yeah.
Yeah, it's real harsh. Did you watch Saturday Night Live this week?
It was really bad.
I like the Weekend Update, though. I like the Mitch McConnell things they did. I thought those were really funny.
Well, Weekend Update, I almost feel like is a separate part of the show. Like I feel like Colin and Michael Che are going to be great no matter what. And usually, whoever they bring out for their, whatever they're, Sarah Sermon or whoever it is coming out to do their little 5 minutes.
The spot they did with Heidi Gardner was too long, where she was playing woman agent gracefully.
Yeah.
I didn't think that was very good, but the Mitch McConnell things they did were hilarious.
They were.
They're really good at doing those. And that's been he's been one of their targets for years. And they always have, he's smiling, he looks like a puppet. They're hilarious.
An evil puppet, yeah.
Yeah.
But he controlled the Senate for decades, so I guess good for him.
Yes, he did.
I was like, everyone seems to hate him, but he seems to be in charge all the time, so I guess he wins.
Yeah.
And he is stepping down, not being forced out, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I can't knock it, yeah.
You were talking about Peep Show?
Well, it's on the Criterion Channel right now. It's a very weird movie from the 60s. It ended the career almost of the director and the lead actor. The premise of Peep Show is it's a movie about a serial killer. But when the serial killing is taking place, the camera switches to a POV. So the audience feels like they're in the eyes of the killer. And at the time, it was incredibly controversial. And like I said, the actor didn't work for 20 years. The director didn't work for 15 years afterwards.
Wow.
So I feel like it's one of those ones where you talk it up. And I saw it, probably in the 90s, early 2000s, in film school. And it wasn't as disturbing for me. And I feel like for a modern audience, you'd probably just be yawn. But it's pretty, I think it's worth a watch if you have Criterion Channel or access to the movie Peep Show. So.
Okay.
I think sometimes
my food moment this week is a place called Mandello's, which is the founder's name from the Carrabba chain.
Yeah.
And I described it to you as fast casual.
But pasta.
And you go in, you order at a counter, and you go sit down. They bring you the food. They bring food fairly fast. But we had a hot and cold salad, which was tremendous. It's a salad with then grilled zucchini, grilled asparagus, grilled mushrooms on top of a cold salad. Really, really good. Really was well done. Good focaccia bread. I had spaghetti with hot sausage and meatballs. Tremendous. Mom had this dish. Mom likes her vegetables.
And
so I wouldn't say it was a primavera, but it was spaghetti with asparagus, red peppers, mushrooms, zucchini, tomatoes. I mean, it was a lot of things, and she loved it.
And the
And
hot
then they
sausage
have
was,
a gelato bar, and I had chocolate covered strawberry gelato, and it was outstanding. It's really good.
and you enjoyed the hot sausage from this place.
Yeah, it was good.
That's a that's a big
But
deal.
I like Carrabba's hot sausage too, though. It's the
Okay.
same hot sausage.
Ah, okay. I was like, for you, that's a big deal. That's a big endorsement.
Yeah, it is. It's it's grilled rather than cooked in the sauce, and my
Yeah.
preference is always cooked in the sauce because it's a lot more tender. But the grilled was pretty. It was good. I enjoyed it. The meatballs were really good.
Okay. Now I want us to get one here.
It would have been much better with angel hair than spaghetti. That's what I would
Yes.
say. I
Yeah.
love angel hair. I've never been a big spaghetti person, but I've always liked angel hair.
No, because I feel like anything that, like, because I understand sometimes with certain dishes, like with an Alfredo, a bigger noodle does work better with an Alfredo than
Yeah.
an angel hair.
But like it's a fettuccine noodle.
Right, it's fettuccine.
Spaghetti's
noodle.
kind of like in between. It's like in no man's land.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. I was like, and the
Yeah.
spaghetti itself is that weird, like, it's always inferior to angel hair. And it has no
Always.
specific, like, like I said, certain sauces, you want a bigger noodle or you want a tubular noodle. I mean, things where the spaghetti is just bigger angel hair that's just not as good.
Yeah, I've always liked angel hair, especially with chicken parm.
Oh, yeah. It's just so good.
Well, they also had pizza there. We didn't get pizza, but I'd go back. I thought it was interesting, and it was fast, and it was good, fast and good. I mean, like if you don't like to wait for your food, and I don't like to wait for my food, we sat down, placed our order, sat down, and like within a minute we had our salad, and then right when we get done with our salad, they brought over our entrees.
Okay.
So I was impressed.
Oh, I do have one food moment. I shout this out annually, but I love Cadbury eggs. They're delicious.
Yes, you do. You've always loved Cadbury eggs.
I've always loved them. Every time they come around, I see them in the store, I get excited. I know they're weird, but I really enjoy them. So,
And speaking of Easter, you know what kind of gelato they had at Mandela's? Peep Jello.
oh,
Yeah, Peep Gelato. I don't know if I could do Peep Gelato. Mom likes Peeps, but I don't think she'd do Peep Gelato either.
no, I don't think that's a good. Peep needs to just stay as a peep
Yes,
and not transition.
especially now in all its multitude of colors.
Yeah, and they've got some weird ones too.
They do.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, the college basketball tournaments start this weekend, so get your fill of college hoops. We'll see who comes. I mean, it's been a real interesting year. I mean, the number one seemed to change rapidly, but it looks like it's some combination of Purdue, Houston, UConn, and whoever else. Kansas has been in and out. So
Yeah. It's college basketball is the one thing that I feel like I was more enthusiastic about, that it's just completely off my radar now than almost anything in my life.
yeah, I watch it this time of year. That's
Yeah.
all I can say about it. And I like the tournament, and that's about it. But I don't follow it from November till now. Although I've been watching USF, and USF has the longest winning streak in the country. And they won the conference title for the very first time. And they were picked to be last or next to last in the conference, and they won.
Yeah. I mean, back to Caitlin Clark, like one of the advantages of women's hoops right now is like, who the team, the good players only last, if they even go to the pros now, if they're not coming from Europe or the G League, they play maybe a season. And, you don't even know who you're rooting against or for year to year. Whereas
Well, hopefully NIL will keep them around a little bit longer. We'll get college basketball will improve, which will in turn improve the pro game. So we'll see.
hopefully.
That's my hope anyhow.
I wouldn't even mind seeing college basketball almost form like old school Big East Super Conference, where we sort of get just this, these 15 or 20 schools are sort of like the schools people go to play college basketball and make NIL money, and everybody else can have a fun team. Just make something a product. Okay. All right. I think that's it for this week.
Yeah, everybody enjoy. Watch the little hoops this week. Pick out your pro team. Get ready for the big stretch run. March till, we have 6 weeks of the NBA season left, or 5.
Yeah.
Till playoffs start. So get into it.